Good afternoon, everyone. This is Seth Moore coming to you again here on Anchor by Spotify. It is 3:41 in the afternoon on a Friday afternoon, and we hope again that everyone had a great day. And if you're currently in the middle of your day and you're preparing to leave work, go home, prepare dinner, or maybe to stop off with a few friends and have a drink, make sure that you be safe and that you continue to tune in and to listen as we disseminate this information for you. Okay, we are here again today, and we're going to continue with our subject matter, is the black man God? But before we do, we want to just take pause for just a brief moment, and we're going to come right back. So stay with us. Okay, and we're back. And before we get started, I just want to mention a few things because often we're inundated with, a lot of noise and voices. And as you know, that we have an overwhelming amount of people who are doing podcasts these days. And of course, everyone is entitled to their opinions. Everyone has their right to speak on whatever subject matter they choose. But one of the things I want to address, and that is, we have a lot of different people in a lot of different spaces with a lot of different ideologies. You may say that I may be one, okay, because there are things that I've talked about, obviously, that you may not agree with. You may not agree with some of the subject content that I elucidated on this channel. You just may be one who might say, I don't agree with this guy. I don't agree with what he's saying. What he's saying is not relevant to me. And so this is more than likely a huge amount of sentiment with a lot of people for different people. But what I want to say is that we have a lot of people that's saying my way is the right way, or you should follow me over here. You should adhere to the information that I'm giving you. And if you're not doing it this way, then you're not doing it right. I don't think that I ever said if you're doing it a different way. I don't believe I have. If I have, you can correct me. To say that you're not doing it the right way. I may have said that I believe that this is a healthier way. And I believe that, and that I know that, as a matter of fact, that this will change your life. Because what I've disseminated to you, what I have said is that, number one, if you're not physically healthy, you're not going to be spiritually healthy. You're not going to be mentally healthy. You're not going to feel good about your life. Excuse me. So I believe that makes sense. How could you be spiritually sound if, in fact, you're intaking all the wrong things for your temple? I think I've said this many times before. If you're not eating right, you cannot tell me that you have a spiritual, healthy life. You can't tell me that. They don't go hand in hand. You can't tell me that you have a spiritual, sound mind on a continual basis if you're not eating right. See, because your Bible even tells you that. It tells you that your body is the house that your soul and your spirit, your ka and your ba lives in. But you would have people who would argue with you and who would debate with you when they have the information in black and white right before them, but yet they choose ignorance over reality. And so this is a lot of times where you have people who will, and of course, if you argue with a fool, you become one. So obviously you don't want to do that. But there are people who would argue with you and who would tell you that they have a spiritual sound life, but they're doing all the wrong things to their temple. How could you say that you love the creative process if you don't treat the creative process correctly? Okay. But to get to the point of what I want to say before we start is a lot of us know and a lot of us don't know that we are indigenous to this land in a Mexum. You could say America is in a Mexum, Turtle Island. We know that. Now, there are a lot of people on social media who are bashing other people, whether they may be of the Afrocentric ideology, whether they may be 5%ers, whether they may be on the chematology, whether they're, Hebrew Israelites. And I've said maybe some of these things before, whether they be Nuwabians, whether they be the Nation of Islam, whether they be Christian, Buddha, Confucius, what do you call it? You know what I'm saying. So anyways, all of these different factions. And so we have a tendency to bash other groups who don't see things our way. And this is what I want to say. When they look at us, because a lot of us, what we're trying to do, we're trying to galvanize a following, we're trying to galvanize people to espouse to a certain way of life. Okay, and this is what I say. Again, there's truth in a lot of these different areas. Everybody has some truth. It's not wrong what the other person is doing. Now, if that person is causing, whichever group they may be in, if that person is causing harm to the overall progress of our people, then I'm against that. I'm against that. I really am. But if I see a man or woman who is trying to build institutions for our people, and that information and that particular way of doing things is going to empower, whether it be young people, older people, I'm not against that. I'm not against that. If I see what you're doing is empowering our people and is causing our people to come together. It's causing our people to learn more about what their history and what their culture is. And of course, we have people who are saying, okay, you're not African, which we're not. We were born here. You're not African, and why are you espousing to this African ideology? And you're not Egyptian, or you're not Comedian, or this, or you're not Ethiopian, or you're not this, or you're not that. What the problem is that we can't agree on anything. That's what the problem is. With all of these different groups, with all of these different factions. And you know why the powers that be look at us the way they do? Is because we don't have unity. We don't have a sense of collectiveness. So while you're over here with your group, this person's over here with their group, this person's over here with their group, and all of these groups are competing for this this platform of truth. We're all divided. Don't y'all see that? We're all divided. So while you're saying that this person, he's a Native American, a Niji, but he's over here teaching Afrocentric ideologies, it only separates us. So we are all divided. We are all divided. And that is what is so, it's not even funny. It's not funny at all. It's not funny at all. And this is what they see. They see a divided people. See, because you want everybody to espouse to what you're saying. This person wants everyone to espouse to what they're saying. This person wants everybody to espouse and believe and follow what they're doing. And in the meantime, we got a whole bunch of people running around like chickens with their damn heads cut off, and none of us are unified. None of us are unified. And therefore, we negate the power that we have in spite of all of these things and all of these truths that are being espoused and that are being elucidated. All of these truths. Because there's truth in a lot of what everybody is saying. But it's not a unified truth. So that's where the problem comes. That is where the problem is. None of us are unified. And we're tearing this one down, we're tearing this one down, we're tearing that one down. But yet at the same time, we say we love everybody. That's not love. Division is not love. Division is not love. Anyways, so I'm going to get on with what we were discussing on the other day. And if we go over, of course, we'll do another segment. But it's just it's just sad, y'all. It really is. It is so sad, man. And then we watch all these other ethnic groups come in the country and gain political power, gain economic power, gain educational power, gain communal power. And meanwhile, we're still divided, fighting one another. See, because hegemony is real, and it has plagued us for centuries. We don't have any territorial integrity. We don't have any sovereign integrity. You know, it's just so much that's against us, but yet, you know, When are we going to sit down at the table? All these different groups, if we can come together and agree upon something, imagine the power in that. But we just don't do it. We don't do it. Everyone has their own little corner. Everyone has their little own corner with their own little organizations. But yet we're screaming out about the white man, but we don't come together. You understand what I'm saying? You got the screaming over here about the white man this. You screaming over here about this. Oh, man. Okay, so anyways. All right, so we stopped off on the other day talking about here as the black man God. And so we're going to pick up some of, I think, where we left off. And if I'm reading this a second time for you, then of course you'll just have a review and it'll just carry over. So okay, so I think I left off here. I think we'll just read this and we'll pick it up in the next episode. Okay, the above observation has very profound implications for our understanding of the nature of the universe that we live in and interact with every day. If quantum particles like electrons, neutrons, protons, and atoms that make up larger objects such as trees, mountains, planets, stars, and galaxies are in essence only waves of possibilities that are collapsed into existence by human consciousness or observation, then this would imply that our entire physical universe is on the quantum level, a construction of human consciousness. This bears witness to and is consistent with the concept of a thought projective universe described by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad on page 46 of his book titled Our Savior Has Arrived, where he gives an account of how the original black people, following the original pattern of the first creator God, consciously willed and called the physical universe into existence with the power of their minds. Now, you know that's profound. And so we were giving you some of this on the other day, and we were bringing you this information as it related to is the black man God. Okay, and so when we continue this, we'll pick up and we'll come back and just give you an opportunity to let some of this marinate, and then we'll move on. Okay, and it reads as follows. This brings us to what is known as M theory, which is a branch of what is called quantum cosmology, and a recent controversial book written by the world-famous thinker and mathematician Stephen Hawking and physicist Leonard Medlow, titled The Grand Design. What Hawkins and Medlow, I guess if I'm saying this right, have essentially done in this book is to take the quantum mathematical principles that govern atomic and subatomic particles and apply them to the large scales of time and space that define our known universe. For instance, in M theory, instead of a single subatomic particle manifesting a wave-particle duality, the entire universe is viewed as a giant cosmic wave of possibilities, existing in what is called a quantum superposition or cosmic wave function, which is spread out as an infinite number of possible universes, or a multiverse, according to the Hawkins and Medlow interpretation of M theory. This multiverse some of you have probably heard this because, with social media and all this that's happening, there are certain terms that are being thrown around. So the multiverse is, or more importantly, was collapsed into the single universe we see and live in today by human consciousness. Now, I've said before that how, these quantum elements are comprised within our ecosystem of the cosmos and in the universe in which we live, and how that the indigenous person or the melanated individual, if in fact realizes their godness and goddessness, that we hold the cosmos together, because all those things that were in the cosmos are within us, and we're the only molecular entities on the planet who comprise the majority. And I'm not saying no one else does, but I'm saying the majority of the elements within the quantum metaphysic level. Okay? So we comprise, so all of these things that are within the cosmos, within the universe, that are comprised within us and our makeup as molecular light beings, okay, congealed to hold things in place. Okay, so and it talks about here, it says by human consciousness. There was considerable controversy surrounding the release of Hawkins and Maledno's book because it was perceived by some as a work that attempted to somehow deny the existence of God. But the real controversy was that Hawkins and Maledno were in fact bearing witness to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad by showing that man is a God. You hear me? That man is a God. And some of you may say, well, man may be God, but he's not the God. And see, so that's where you're getting it twisted. See, because you see God as this, as I said before, all of this comprised elements within the cosmos, and how that it was brought about. And some would say, okay, were you born? And then some will say, well, God is not born. He's infinite. He's always, there's no alpha, near is there any omega, which means obviously, no beginning or no ending. And there's no beginning or ending with you, because you're just housed in a vehicle of flesh. So, but that's not really who you are. That's not the real you. So the energy that comprises your makeup was those universal elements that we are talking about, moves to another dimension of existence, after which the flesh body goes back to the earth, which is comprised of, these elements of earth, water, atomic energy, light, and so forth and so on. On pages 8 and 9 of their book, Hawkins and Maledno, in giving a description of man's place in the M-theory construction of reality, state that it makes us, in a sense, the lords of creation. On page 140, they state, we create history by our observation. And when we talked about how that when we look away, these elements and these particles begin to create a certain function, and that when we observe through consciousness, they collapse. Rather than history creating us, and on page 141, in describing all the universes with more than 3 space dimensions that are mathematically possible under M theory, the author says that these possibilities universes are irrelevant because we have already determined that we are in a universe with the 3 large space dimensions. The big elephant in the room, so to speak, is just who are the us, and we that Hawkins and Medlow are describing as the lords of creation and those who determine the space dimensions of the universe, who would have been the first or original human observers of the universe, who were the conscious human beings responsible for the quantum collapse of the so-called multiverse wave function into the universe that we live in today, as mentioned prior. As it was shown earlier in this investigation, findings in the field of molecular biology have already proved beyond any shadow of a doubt that the first people, and thus the first human observers to walk this planet, were the original black man and woman. According to the mathematics of quantum cosmology, the present state and configuration of the universe owes its existence to the consciousness of these first human observers. Therefore, the inescapable conclusion that the scientific world is faced with is that the original black people of this planet are, in fact, mathematically and scientifically, the true lords of creation. Pay attention. This means that the so-called Asian and Europeans who, according to the findings of molecular biology, appear on the earth sometime between 10,000 and 6,000 years ago, would have come into and gazed upon a universe already fully constructed by the collective consciousness of the original black people of this planet over a period of hundreds of thousands, and according to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, trillions of years. On page 35 of his book, Our Savior Has Arrived, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says of the black man, "You are the only man who needed light to light up your universe." You are the only man, I'm going to read that again, who needed light to light up your universe. You brought forth that light. You are walking around looking for a God to bow to and worship. You are the God. This is the profound secret that is hidden in modern science. There you have it. You are the God. And it says that you are the only man who needed light to light up light. Your universe. You brought forth that light. You are walking around looking for a God to bow down and worship. Ain't that something? And this is what I've been saying. We are bowing down to other gods. We're creating idols. We're creating shrines. And again, I don't want to be pejorative, but look at it. While we're worshiping other things that we don't even understand, we have a very minute interpretation of what we do. And you can't even understand or overstand why, with all this power that you say you have in all of these different religions and so forth and so on, that still in all, we're not together. And that's only because it comes in unifying ourselves as gods on this planet and divorcing ourselves from all these religions You know what I'm saying? And coming together. That is what we are supposed to do. It's already been done before. And the planet was being ruled in righteousness and governed in love and power and order and righteousness and reciprocity and, balance and so forth. And the list goes on and on. So that's what we have to do. So you know what? We're going to stop there and we're going to come back. We're going to bring you some more. But from right now, we're going to stop and we'll let that sink in and, we'll pick up again and we'll continue. Okay? So again, this is Seth Moore coming to you again here on Anchor by Spotify. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. You're listening to Scott Buckley, as always. And so until the next time, we will see you guys. Have a pleasant afternoon. Take care.